gonna put the dagger in. It's football. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on NFL Now, presented by Truist. I'm Patrick Claybon here in the NFL Network newsroom. A fun couple of hours for you to spend this time with us here this January as we look ahead to the Super Bowl. We've got live updates from Senior Bowl practice on the campus of South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama. That's coming up here on the show, as well as Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner breaking down the Super Bowl quarterbacks. There's also a little bit of news here in the NFL world as we get back to that Super Bowl. And one of the guys who's coaching in the Super Bowl, Bruce Arians, could become the oldest head coach to win his first Super Bowl at 68 years and change. He was asked about the potential of what might happen hypothetically if he wins the Super Bowl, and his answer was pretty quick.
You won a Super Bowl as an assistant with the Steelers, and now you're there for the first time as a head coach trying to win this thing. If you guys pull it off, are you thinking to yourself, okay, I might think about stepping aside? Have you talked about maybe winning the Super Bowl and riding off into the sunset possibly?
Hell no. I'm going for 2.
We love it, Coach.
Oh, man. I think you just made a lot of Buccaneer fans pretty happy with that one, Coach.
They made that call quicker than some people make two-point conversion calls. This is a IG post from Tom Brady. It's got Devin White there, Mike Evans, on to Kansas City at home. Brady celebrating his team's arrival in the Super Bowl with the opportunity to be the first team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Outside of that home stadium is our Sarah Walsh there in Tampa. Sarah, good afternoon to you. Bruce Arians made it quick about his future. What else are they saying about the future of the guys on this team in Tampa Bay?
Oh, well, that was my good friend Tom Kresnicki asking Bruce Arians about his future and if he'd ride off into the sunset. And it's funny because on a sports talk radio show, I was asked the same thing about Tom Brady. If Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl, would he, call it a career in a fairy tale ending sort of way? And there is nothing to indicate that Tom Brady wouldn't believe, along with Bruce Arians, if they could win one here, they could win another. Why would they stop now when this team has accomplished so much in such a short time? Everything Tom has said to us this year is about how much he loves playing football and how long he wants to continue playing football. Now, Bucs GM Jason Licht addressed the media for really the first time since this season started today, and he said, yes, Tom is 43 years old, and we do have some elder statesmen. But other than that, he called it a young team and said that they are looking forward to the future and that this thing is laying out beautifully for them. He said that he knows that there is those older guys, but everything about this team suggests that the pieces are in place for a long run. And he said, we are planning for the long term. Now, the short term, that is behind me. In 11 days, this Bucs team will play for its second Super Bowl title in franchise history, Patrick.
And Sarah, let's get to those 11 days because they've got some injuries to try to heal up and some planning to do in terms of winning that first Super Bowl if they're able to do it.
Yeah, so here's how the week is going to lay out. The Bucs did not practice today. Tomorrow, they will be on the practice field for the first time since they clinched their trip to the Super Bowl. Bruce Arians did not address the local media today other than to appear on WDAE. You heard him there. He was asked about Antoine Winfield, who is battling an ankle injury. He was asked about Antonio Brown, who is battling a knee injury. Both of those players missed last week's game in Green Bay, and he said that we will not see either of those guys this week. He does not anticipate them being on the practice field. He said it's too early to tell how they are doing and that it's something that they will roll with next week. So we won't really have a sense of if they're going to be able to go until much closer to the Super Bowl. Another name that we're also keeping an eye on, Jordan Whitehead. He was injured in last week's game against Green Bay, went out with a shoulder injury. Bruce was non-committal on Monday when asked the severity of that injury, although Whitehead, obviously running on some adrenaline after that Green Bay game, said that absolutely he would be back for the Super Bowl. He said it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Again, maybe that was adrenaline talking, but I think it's something that won't be decided until much later in the week. And Patrick, it's interesting. I know you noted that Bruce Arians could become the oldest coach to win a Super Bowl. I thought this was really cool. He talked on the radio, WDAE today, about his mom. She is 95 years old. He said she's so excited and she will be flying down to Tampa to watch her son coach in the Super Bowl.
Just a tremendous opportunity. You never age out of wanting to impress mom, and to Jordan Whitehead's adrenaline. as well. He was the first player to force 2 fumbles in a playoff game since Von Miller did it on his way to winning a Super Bowl MVP just 5 years ago. That's Sarah Walsh, where they hope to get Whitehead and all the rest of those guys back for Super Bowl 55. Thanks, Sarah. We go to a team that did not get the opportunity to make it to this game. Jared Goff has been there before, though, and his GM, Les Snead, coming off of 2 playoff games where Goff came back from thumb surgery, was asked about his future as a Ram, and it wasn't super inspiring what the GM had to say about his quarterback.
With Jared, with Sean, since they've started partnering together, Jared has more wins than any other quarterback except Tom Brady. So there has been successes there, and now the vision, the goal is to look at the model, see if there's some tweaks to be made to make sure we get back to who we want to be and advance to those next 2 games.
So you can't say at this moment that Jared Goff will be on the team in 2021.
What I can say is Jared Goff's a Ram in this moment. And I said it's way too early to speculate the future. That's a beautiful mystery.
So let's break down this news and these statements. Get to what's new right now with NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, as well as our own Mike Garafolo. Ian, it was kind of a standard GM answer. Then Les Snead gave us a lot more to think about with regards to Jared Goff. How do you react to what the general manager of the Rams had to say?
There's a lot to this situation. Les Snead is right. 45 wins for Jared Goff since 2017, second most behind Tom Brady. He's got 3 playoff wins. He's got a lot of big moments. There's been so much good that Jared Goff has done for the Rams. That should be noted. The other side of the story is John Walford, when he played, added a new dynamic, a new element, much more mobile for the Los Angeles Rams, and they liked what they saw during the time when he was in at the end of the season in the playoffs, just like they liked what they saw in training camp from him and when he was on the practice squad. Here's my understanding, Mike, of where it is for the Los Angeles Rams. If Jared Goff is not traded, if he remains on the team in 2021, expect an open quarterback competition in training camp. It'll be John Walford, who they like a lot, versus Jared Goff, their starter for the last several years. We will see if Goff is able to limit some of the turnovers, increase the explosive plays, and keep this job, or if it is John Walford who ends up taking it.
John Walford looking up his contract right now, what he's slated to make in 2021. Yeah, a lot less than Jared Goff, Ian. And so that's going to be something that's going to catch a lot of people's eyes, because a lot of times the contract will dictate who your starter is. Now, there's one way out of that, and Les Snead wouldn't guarantee that Goff would be on the roster. But I agree with you. I think it's more likely than not that he winds up being on the roster, and he's got to play his way back into his starting job here, because I don't sense a robust trade market for Jared Goff should he become available. And frankly, teams know right now that if they wanted him and made a push for him, that they could get him from the Rams, because frankly, as we just stated, it's a quarterback competition with a guy with a $20 million plus tag on him right now. So do not look for Jared Goff to be traded anytime soon, and probably not at all. I don't sense that he'd be one of the targets for teams looking to acquire a quarterback via trade.
Yeah, $20 million versus on the other side of Walford, $1.5 million in 2021.
There you go.
I looked it up because you were looking it up, Mike. Let's look over at Aaron Rodgers. Ian, we saw the comments from his team president, Rodgers, after the game, and now Rodgers going back and doubling down on the uncertainty paradox with regards to his future. What do we glean from these strings of comments from the quarterback and team management?
Well, kudos to Aaron Rodgers for being honest and just saying what he feels. Now, it led to some murky media commentary, including people photoshopping him onto all sorts of different jerseys. Obviously, our new national pastime now after he made his comments. Who hasn't seen every photo of Aaron Rodgers in, 49ers and Colts and basically all the jerseys? I have a hard time imagining him going anywhere. And I know that because Mark Murphy, the CEO, said he's not an idiot. And if he's not an idiot, he's not trading Aaron Rodgers. But what you might see is an increased commitment from the organization to Rodgers. They drafted Jordan Love. They obviously gave Rodgers some doubt that he would end up being the starter deep into the future. This year, of course, next year probably. But maybe they make this right, Mike, and say, you know what, we gave you some uncertainty. Let's address this contractually and give you some certainty. That might be a way maybe to make Rodgers, let's say, feel a little better about the organization.
Understood. And look, we just did it with Les Snead. We're in the time of year where no one wants to guarantee anything. No one says, who knows for sure what's coming in the coming months here with regard to the NFL and who's on a roster and whatnot. But when Rodgers said it, being that he's a guy who has already put together a future Hall of Fame career and an MVP season, likely here just now, that a lot of folks thought, oh, that must mean that he's talking about what he's in control of. But no, it was the emotion of another loss, realizing that's another year closer to the end of his career when it's not going to be